What you doing? I think I see two of you out there.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you? Hey, there's somebody else
I'm
out there. Is
good.
Dahlia out there too?
I'm here.
I'm just goofing off. Just, making stuff, doing stuff, goofing off before we talk about narcissism. And we should warn the people that will see this now and later. This is a pilot to the first episode for an entire season of shows that we have already pre-made and a number of other things over the past 5 years it's a whole bunch of things happening. Just today, we're going to be talking about escaping narcissistic relationships, the essential steps, and a whole lot more. We're asking everyone to take the time to watch NATV at least 10 minutes a week. So 10 minutes a week, 40 minutes a month. We appreciate it if you're able to do that. But right now, I have to bring everybody in.
Hey, Susie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Nice
I
to
love
see
the
you.
t-shirt.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, SETV. I want to see if I can.
I'm here
TV.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Love it. That's nice.
Look
Hey, let me
at
see that again. Let me see that again.
Right? I might have horsehair on me. Horsehair and hay. I was out feeding horses before.
We're just looking at the shirt.
So
We don't. Horsehair is good. So you work with horses. You should
I
explain that
do.
to
I
everybody
do.
that doesn't know what that means. By the way, you should explain that.
Well, part of my healing from narcissistic abuse has been working with horses. They are very healing. They're very soothing to me.
Yeah.
And I volunteered for 15 years. So right now I'm living really close to a horse farm and I feed like 4 or 5 nights a week.
Here it is.
Susie,
So
I
it
did the
grounds
same
me.
thing. I did
Did
the
you
same thing.
really? No
Equine
way.
therapy is
Therapy.
so healing.
Gives
I
me
almost feel
goosebumps.
like I have this spiritual connection with the horses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's amazing. I don't know if you've experienced this, but you can have anxiety or, feel depressed and you go into the barn or go near a horse, just the smell of them.
Yeah, I know. I
Got
love
some love on
Very
the
horses.
screen.
healing.
Got some love on the screen, ladies, there for you.
Hey, Gloria.
Hey,
Hey, missed you
Gloria.
too. Uh-oh. Hope you're okay.
Oh,
Hope you're feeling
yeah.
well.
Gloria,
Yeah.
just for taking your time to be here. Something like that. All right, so let's see here. We've got much love coming from the network here. This particular show, as everybody that's here right now, you get to see us put this pilot to the pilot out. So what does that mean? Pilot to the pilot before we get to the first episode. You'll see why when we get to the first episode. There will be an entire season of shows under this first year. And you'll see them right here on NATV Network and right here on YouTube. And if things go well, I can't tell you the rest. But there's some things in the works for us here on NATV Network, and you will enjoy it. But right now, less me and more of the ladies. Ladies, the first thing that I want to touch on, if it's okay with you, we know dealing with a narcissistic individuals can be extremely difficult. It can be very controlling, manipulative. Emotional abuse is something they do, psychological abuse, making it difficult for their partners to leave or not adding to the dignity of their partners because they just walk out and discard even their own children. Escaping a narcissistic relationship then can be emotionally draining. It can be something that can take its toll. It can be challenging. We need some steps. Let's just go over some things that you personally would like to share with the audience today. For example, one of the things that was brought to my attention, you both will be able to highlight, recognizing that the narcissistic behavior is not by accident. Being able to see it, to actually see the red flags, recognizing the narcissistic behavior. Any thoughts on that?
Looking back, like I was saying to Dahlia before, in the pre-show, I
You
was
mean
with
when you did the whole show before the
when
actual
I did
show
the whole
started
show before
and
the
had to
show.
tell you guys, can you please stop talking about what you can say
Cut.
for the show? It's like we did the
Yeah.
whole show before. Go ahead. Yours.
No. Well, we just met, so it was like we had to catch up, get to know each other.
Oh yeah, that
But
was quick.
yeah, I was with him for 25 years. Looking back now, I can totally see all the red flags. Um,
Mm.
it's a little bit disturbing that I ignored them. So, I make excuses. I was young, or he had issues,
Hmm.
and I could fix him or whatever. And now I realize you can't fix these people. If they don't want to get help and better themselves, it's just going to get worse. I don't know if you notice any red flags that you can look back and should have known better, kind of thing. Like I feel like I should have known better. It's like guilt.
Oh, wow. Well, for me, it's not that obvious. It was the
Mhm.
grandiosity. So, like, I got big flowers,
Mm.
and my gut feel was like, is this real? And when I asked my parents, I was like, do you think this guy is really serious? And my mom was like, who would do all of this for you? Who would give you all of this? Like, I never asked, all of
Mhm.
that. And they just keep coming. Even my mom never received any flowers on International Women's Day. But this special Prince Charming gave my mom this huge flowers for International Women's Day, And so all that grandiosity made you feel like your Prince Charming is here. You're so special. You just feel so special.
Mhm.
But that's all the grandiosity and the love bombing. And then
Yeah.
after marriage, oh, the mask start falling off and you go
Uh,
like,
Almost immediately. What
yes,
in the world is this?
immediately, immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I had the same. He was actually a neighbor, and he would bring gifts over to my kids, and oh, they're so wonderful, and totally spoil them. And yeah, so I guess I got the gifts too, and everything was over the top, exciting, and everything was very fast. Very fast.
Yeah.
Were you
We're gonna get
always to,
married.
were you always to blame for everything?
Oh, yes. Of course. I still am.
But you're
I
divorced
still am.
already.
I'm divorced, but I mean everything is my fault.
Oh,
Even the people closest to him will still blame me for his relationship with his kids. Now, his children were close to my age because he was
oh.
25 years older. Now, I didn't know this man. How could I be responsible? Now I can understand it. But while I was in it, I would question myself. When you're told something every single day and you're
Hmm.
blamed for everything, I
Hmm.
started to believe it. And I hid it. I hid it. I don't know if you hid it. It was embarrassing and it was very confusing. So by hiding it, I think I made it worse, unbeknownst to me. Now I know better.
Why did you hide it? If I may ask, why do you think you hid it?
Um, I remember after he moved into my house, and I remember he started an argument over something, and his moods would fluctuate, really quickly, and he would get angry. And I remember the exact day, and I remember standing in my kitchen and thinking, "Uh-oh, what did I do?" I moved him into my house. We started to do a joint bank account, this and that. I gave up my daycare. He made me stop working. And I thought, what am I going to do now? So
Hmm.
I was confused, I was embarrassed, and I felt stuck immediately. Like, how do I get out of this?
Hmm.
So then I decided, all right, I'm gonna fix him. I'm gonna work on this. I put myself last and did everything to try to make him happy, make him satisfied, make him better, keep the peace. Yeah, it was very challenging. It was exhausting.
I have to point toward Kimberly here. Kimberly says she agrees. She says I couldn't see it until I was ready to heal. What was that like for you, Dahlia? I mean, you came to this country. You didn't have a lot of family nearby, correct? Or you didn't have any?
No. I didn't.
That's hard in itself. I
Yeah.
thought being moved out of the state was difficult. I cannot imagine moving to
Hmm.
another country and not knowing anyone.
I didn't. And yeah, I was told that, the control, I was told that now that should be a red flag, but, I'm already married. So, and I'm already in this country. But I was told you're not making friends with the neighbors because
Wow.
my sister would not like that. Yeah, so that control. So I don't have my parents, I don't have my family and friends, but I'm not allowed to make friends with neighbors.
Mm.
Very nice neighbor came over and gave, flowers, chocolates, I'm sorry,
Mm.
Aw.
chocolates.
Hmm.
And then I bought something else the next day in return, and he was like, who's that for? We're
Yeah.
not eating that. I was like, I want to give this to David, the neighbor. And he was like, put it back. You're not giving it to the neighbor. We're not making friends with the neighbors. And that's very sad. I'm like, but because I'm a strong person, my personality. So I look at him and like,
True.
I look at him and I go, you're not making friends with the neighbors, but I am. That's not my culture. People, my
Yeah.
culture
Yeah.
is, people give one, I
Friendly.
give 10, I give back. So you don't stop me because that's my values. And so slowly I started to learn that our values don't match. While before that, this was this whole story about, I thought that the universe brought us together because I got this job in the Asia, and I thought that I was going to go to Europe. I wanted to go, but this job got me to Asia, and I thought it was all meant to be, like all these, like, our values match, blah, blah, blah. And so,
Wow.
like, it was, yeah, all the fairy tale story. But right after, you cannot make friends with the neighbors. You
Mm.
cannot use some parts of the kitchen in the house. And I was told, let my sister be the
Wow.
queen. I was told, let my sister be the queen. Yeah.
Were you working at the time? Was it difficult to keep your career
Mm.
going
I,
and focus on work?
oh, Susie, thank you for asking. I was working at that time. I was working at that time
Hmm.
and supporting him with his business too.
Mm.
And then that work, I had kept the work. That was, I was doing everything virtual because my clients are in Asia. That was very helpful because my clients who told me, we look for you for help. And
Mhm.
it ended up to be that they became my support system. My
Mm.
clients,
Wow.
my clients wrote letters to my
Oh,
attorney to really ask to help me. My business partners, my peers, the coaches I work with, the trainers, they were my first counselors, and
your
they
support.
they would listen to me like so deeply, like full attention for 1 hour, and just let me cry for 1 hour.
Mm.
So I really appreciate, because the kind of relationship that I have with my clients as a trusted advisor is a very based on trust, very vulnerable,
Mm.
and integrity, right? So yeah, so it's a two-way. I give it to them in my coaching, but they also give it back to me in support. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
Yeah. And just for everybody, if you've never met Dahlia, she's been on the channel here before. Can you give them an idea? I mean, I'll say it. You're an executive coach, and you deal with people who need to maybe keep their privacy, but they also have dealt with and deal with narcissists as well. So it's a little different. And you're saying they were there for you.
Yeah, yeah. I had people who were there for me, But they're going through their own things, so they could give me the empathy, and then after they saw that I strongly, I firmly say, this is not for me, I have to do something about this, then they're also inspired.
Yeah.
They're like, how do I do this with my, like, how do I do this? I've been in this for 15 years, Dahlia. And I'm like, no, I would not put up with this another 15 minutes. Yeah.
I have to ask you this now. We just talked about recognizing the narcissistic behavior, and stop rationalizing about their actions. We got Kimberly that kind of touched on that for us as well in her experience. How you doing, Rick? I see Rick, you're here. Rick, you got to get one of these. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. And of course, Ken, giving some
Hey,
love
everybody.
out to Susie. Appreciate it. Let's look at acknowledging your own feelings. So you've kind of touched on it a little bit, but when it comes to acknowledging your own feelings or validating your emotions, you're saying you had a support group, your clients, surprisingly. What other things can you recommend for others, though, when it comes to acknowledging their feelings or validating their feelings? What are some ways that they can overcome feeling the overwhelming sense of hurt and guilt, confusion, the gaslighting? Recommendations, some steps that they can maybe take?
First of all, your feelings are real. They are real, and like if nobody believe you and say, "Oh, this is all drama," you got my validation. I validate your feelings.
Oh,
It's
wow.
real.
Yes.
Awesome.
Right? The confusion, the guilt, the hurt, the feeling betrayed. And I went into rumination. Like I got paralyzed, ruminating. Yesterday he said this and he did this, but this was not what he said today, and not what he act on today. So recognize your emotions, and that's real. Anything else that is good and charmy and all those feelings make you feel like maybe I'm crazy to feel this way. No, that's not real. The real feeling you're feeling, that's real. So for me, is journaling. I write about it. Definitely my counselor was so helpful. So talking to my counselor, getting clarity was very important to me. So when I talk to my counselor comes with, very neutral, no judgment, safe space. It give me psychological safety to talk about my feelings. And then it was my counselor said, when there are times when I go, how can I do this differently? Is it my fault? And then she goes, no, it's not. Don't go there. She validated that, granted, I felt that way because of this. So she reasoned with me. But yeah, I do let myself cry. I cry a lot when I journal. I just cry. But also after the crying and you got all the swollen eyes, you sleep and then you wake up. And the next thing that I do is when my counselor, the technique that my counselor gave was, first of all, go to the gym. At that time I didn't have many resources. So the gym was my resource. I would go to the gym after lunch and stay there until gym closes. That's
Wow.
my safe space. Like, I don't want to go home. I stay at the YMCA. I just sit there. I take my boxing gloves and I just, do my Muay Thai boxing there. I lift weights, do strength training,
That's
or
awesome.
I just dive into the swimming pool. And over the weekend, I go volunteer for equine therapy for disabled children. But it's nothing to get myself busy and distracted, but just to calm my nerves, really. To calm my nerves and just release the negative energy. Yeah.
Oh. Susie, any thoughts?
Yeah, I actually had to learn to rebuild my self-worth.
Hmm.
I had none left. I was a shell of who I was after this long relationship. I mean, it was a couple of years in my 20s, all through my 30s, my 40s, and I'm in my
Hmm.
50s. So it's all I ever knew. So to understand that I am my own person has been challenging for me, but very rewarding. Um, yeah, I have the support group from the Women's Center, from the shelter. I could not have done it without them. Therapy is number one, Dr. Mack. And yeah, now I'm working on my self-care. It's almost like I had to reconnect my brain. I had to rewire my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions. And like you said, it's valid. How I feel is valid. I really went through this and it's real. And I can't worry about what anyone else says or thinks or doesn't say or think. It's not about them any longer. And I've taken the last couple months and totally disconnected from most of the people I know. And it's been lonely. It's been a little confusing, but now I'm like 6, 7 weeks into it. And I'm like, okay, I'm actually feeling things again. That was a big one for me. I didn't feel, I disconnected because that's how I survived. Like kind of
Mm.
pretend it didn't happen or disassociate. So it's it's
Yeah.
it's been a lot of growth, a lot of healing and a lot of growth.
I'm
Congratulations.
curious to
Thank
ask,
you.
um, at what point did you recognize that this wasn't happening by accident, that they were doing it deliberately and it was intentional, that they were ignoring or assaulting your, not maybe even physically per se, as in your case, Susie, but they were assaulting your emotions. They were attacking your emotions and it was
My
on purpose
feelings. Yeah.
and it wasn't by accident and your feelings. Yes.
Mm. I think for me, it was when other family members started to treat me the same way.
Oh, wow. Didn't think of that. That's wow. That's
Yeah.
powerful.
And I'm talking kids, grandchildren, attitudes, rolling of the eyes. It was almost as if they started picking up his behaviors. And
Mm.
it was devastating to me, to be honest. Like, it
I
still
didn't
hurts
even
me.
think of that. That's actually pretty intense.
Yeah, it's very real. It's very real. It's been a long road, but I'm on the
Wow.
outside now. I'm looking in now and putting all the little pieces together. Like you said, I would think of conversations or holidays, whatever, and everything he said or did, I had to reevaluate and look into at a different way because it was all fake.
Yeah.
The person I thought he is not that person.
Hmm.
And I would stay up night after night after night going over scenario after scenario of different
Mm.
things and things he'd say and do. And I'm like, it was all a lie. Everything was a lie. That's
That's the
scary.
rumination. That's the
Scary.
rumination. And I
Yeah.
realized I after a while I was like, why am I still in bed? I felt like
Oh, wow.
I felt like I was busy the whole entire half of my day, but
Yeah.
I was just in bed. I woke up and I
Wow.
realized it's
Just
2 p.m. and I'm still in bed, but I felt so
mhm,
tired because I was ruminating. Like,
mhm.
but he said,
Mentally drained.
yeah, but he said this. And then it turned
Yep.
out to be this.
Wow.
But he
Crazy.
said that. Wait a
Mm.
minute. But in to answer your question on my part was, because I'm more coming from the anger, right? Not like the self-doubt. Because I'm so confident. Like I know my values. I hold on to my
Mm.
dignity. So I'm more the challenge, the combative one. So I'm like, this is not right. This is a lie. And I put
Yeah.
out the truth. So
I
there's
see you.
no, I show the black and white. So
Yeah.
this
Right.
is what you said, but this is what you texted. This is what you said, but this was what's in your email. So it's just black and white. So I was told, yes, I don't have empathy for you. I don't
Mm.
have empathy for you. And what was the other one that was so hurtful? I don't have empathy for you. Oh, yes. He admitted, yes. I said, but you were a different person. You lied to my entire universe, my world, my family, my parents.
Yeah.
I felt like you betrayed not me, but my parents. But he said, yeah, I wear mask everywhere I go. I wear different. I said,
Wow.
why did you say this to this person? And then, but that's not what we're doing. Why are you lying? And he was like, I said, that's a lie. And he said, yeah, I wear different masks everywhere I go.
You know, it's true. They do tell you what they do. If you listen to their words, or like you said, when we go back and go over everything, he was telling me the whole time what he was doing and who he was. I just chose not to see it. And I used to fight back too, but then the abuse got amped up. So I just shut down. But I used to call him out on everything. And I felt like that was more dangerous for me
Yeah.
because then he got angry.
Yeah. And you know, like the intimacy avoidant, they purposely do that to hurt you, to make you feel rejected and unloved.
Oh,
And I was crying, and it was like really in the first 4 months of marriage. And I was like, why are you doing this? You know, I'm your wife. And he was like, look at you. You look so pathetic. He said, look at you. You look so pathetic. You even competing with my porn girls. I don't have attraction anymore towards you. So, you know, shifting the blame back. But I'm like, you're the pathetic one. So I am, you know, I'm confident that I don't let his words get in my mind to believe that I'm the pathetic one, that I'm not the sexy one, that I'm not the attractive one. No, I'm like, you clearly have a problem. You are a problem. And so that's when I knew, I was like, if this is coming out of your mouth, then I'm sorry, we don't have the same values, because my family values, I've never heard my dad say things like that to my mom. So
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Did you find that you allowed yourself, or do you still maybe grieve over the situation, or did you allow yourself to grieve, which has helped both of you to move to where you are today?
yeah, the grief comes in cycle, right, Susie? It's up and down.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I grieved. I was so trauma bonded. I was devastated. Even though I knew I had to get away from him, he had a girlfriend, he beat me up, all these horrible things. I still was like, where is he? What is he doing? What did I do wrong? It took me months. It took me months to break that trauma bond. It took a lot of therapy, a lot of women's groups, a lot of counseling.
I I
That
am
was rough.
smiling. If I am smiling because of a conversation we had. Was it yesterday? And all I'm gonna say
Yeah,
is
2
two
days.
words: post office. That's all I gotta say.
Yes.
If you were a fly on the wall
Oh,
and heard Susie yesterday, this ties into what you were talking about yesterday. If you want to tell people, you can say whatever you
yeah.
want. But I can
Well,
see what you're saying right now about that connection of, what did you say, Dahlia? Ruminating and still thinking about them.
Yeah.
What's he doing? All these other things. Go ahead. You were gonna say.
yeah, I was so trauma bonded. Now the man lives over an hour away. So why he still has his PO box in town is so he can run into me. This is what they do. They stalk. They want to know what you're doing. So the first time I saw him at the post office, I froze. I got PTSD. I couldn't even walk into the post office. Um, Last week I went last Thursday
Mm.
and I pull in and there's his truck. And I stopped out of habit and there he is with his son. And I don't know if they saw me, but I was like, what in the heck? Like in my mind, for the first time, I'm looking at him like I had no feeling, no emotion. I didn't even know that person. I was so disgusted and I just kept driving. And for me, that's a big deal because I prove that it's broken.
Yeah.
I'm done. It's over. It's my story, but it's not who I am
Yeah.
any longer.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of
Susie,
myself.
just
Big
looking
deal.
at that, just seeing the truck without seeing him, that gives you like, it creeps the chill,
Mm. And that
right?
he's there to run into me. There's no reason he has to be there.
Right.
He doesn't live here, but he
Right.
keeps that tie. It's creepy. They're
Yeah.
creepy people.
So even when he's not in present, like you don't see him visually, but you see his truck, your body just pick up that energy. Like,
Yeah.
your
And then his
memory.
son, it's like double whammy.
Yeah,
All
your
right, I've got it.
memory just trigger the emotions,
Yep.
all of that, and you're like, run.
Yeah. I was like, keep driving. Let's go.
Wait, just keep running.
Don't stop.
Isn't it kind of like what you're like? Yeah, we'll save the story even more in detail. I wanted to move on to another point that I wanted to share with you, ladies, and feel free to tackle that one as well. Just in a brief recap, we've talked about recognizing the narcissistic behavior. The second thing was acknowledge your feelings and allow yourself to grieve in dealing with digging that person's negativity out of your life and adjusting to situations when you have to deal with them. The third thing I want to talk about is setting boundaries, or in other words, firm boundaries. A conversation that many people have, many videos are made about it. Share your thoughts on setting boundaries and going no contact.
Well, I'm just learning that. So I'm getting pretty good
Yeah,
at it though. And I'm setting
because
boundaries with other people too, not just him.
yeah. Because if you don't set the boundaries, they don't know boundaries. Actually, your vulnerability, your empathy, and all that without boundaries, especially when you're in love, you put your guards down, and so they trample all over, or they actually use that to manipulate you. They leverage your lack of boundaries, your openness. But when you trying to escape from it, or you're trying to heal from it, just not answering, just blocking their phone calls, that will help you, because even if you stop seeing him, but you allow him to call you, just the ring and the number, that would trigger your rumination. And then you go back into that cycle. So while you're trying to heal, right, and you still have a little door open for him, you go back into that cycle, and you might, and that causes a trauma bond, which I don't go through, because I'm like, I'm not doing this, and I left. I was working, I set goals to leave. Paxton was one of the person who was part of my goal to leave. I spoke to him, and Paxton, I mean, the day you first saw me, when I was still going through that, my face with the rash on my face and all, versus
Sure
how I am now. But yeah, so no contact, because they can come back. They will reel you back. It will make you feel and the guilt, because they know your weakness. And because of that, they'll guilt trip you. Like, oh, because of you, this thing happened, or there's no, so it's not going to help you. But I learned about boundaries with others too, as you point, Susie. I'm like, oh, because of my nature of, helping people in coaching, with my empathy, I listen, and sometimes, we call it the positive intent. So you always give yourself excuses for them, for their bad behavior, because you want to assume. As a coach, I've been trained to assume positive intent. So I'm like, oh, maybe because, he was depressed about this. So you let it pass. Then you forgive him. And then you go back. And then that's when they walk over all your boundaries again. Like, so I learned about myself that I need to start to set boundaries better with people. So now I'm like, if it's a no, it's a no. Don't try to negotiate with me.
Yeah.
Especially with my
I love it.
peace. Especially with my peace. Anything that's not anything that's hijacking my peace, I dare to say, I'm not interested in talking to you right now, or no, I don't want to go out with you, even with my friends, because I know that's not, if it's negative, it's not, if it's disrupting my peace, or if it's destructive, or if it triggers what I'm trying to heal from, then I'm comfortable to say, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can so relate to that because right now I was always a people pleaser. So I would never say no to anyone, whether it's volunteering, my grandchildren, family, friends, whatever, neighbors. I was always the one helping. And now I feel the peace. I finally feel the peace. So I get it. I'm like grateful to say no. It feels good. It finally feels good to not go out or not, hang out with someone or go to lunch. I just don't feel like it. It's like, no, no, maybe next time. And I've never done that before.
I
So
love it.
it's major
I
growth.
love
No,
it.
it's
Yeah,
a big deal.
it's
It
good.
is.
That people pleasing. Oh, that got me. That's what wasted so many years in my life. I never put myself first. Never. And it feels really good to finally be able to.
And it's so hard for you now because I mean, going to set this boundary because it almost make you feel like, am I selfish? Am I
Yeah.
selfish? Am I being selfish? Because you've always been so selfless and
Mhm.
people pleasing and want to help people. So when now you're trying to tell yourself, if I come to you,
It's
Susie, can you
okay.
help me with
Yeah.
this? You
Yeah.
know, there's a little bit
Sorry.
of, am I being selfish if I don't help Dahlia right now?
Exactly.
But yeah.
And what do they say? We teach people how to treat us. Is that the
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so true. Like I taught everyone just to walk all over me. I have to take some responsibility for this whole time that I was with this person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And that
I
was a
wanted to
hard
touch
pill to
on that.
swallow.
Yeah,
Mm,
I wanted to actually touch on that, but you just did. If you want to expand on it, a lot of people struggle with what you're talking about right now, that part.
yeah.
And that's how they re-enter a person, a troublemaker, a bully, narcissistic person can re-enter. So what advice can you give? I know you just gave some, but before we move on to something else, hit the public hard. What are you really telling someone? For one, they're not a narcissist. They're not selfish. What else are you telling them that they need to do so they don't have it happen to them again?
It's being aware of your, owning your dignity. So, for me, it's not about blaming this person. Well, if you're narcissistic, what you've gone through in your childhood or family culture, upbringing, and all that, I feel sorry for you. So my counselor was like, there was one point I was like telling my counselor, oh, I feel sorry if this was what he gone through in his childhood. And my counselor was like, you can feel sorry, but you're not here to save him.
Mhm.
I love it.
Don't
I
save
love
him.
it.
You're not here to save
I
him,
like that.
And then like my examples and all that, I felt like, if I'm not even allowed to live in my house like it's my house, like I'm just
Wow.
a tenant, and being
Crazy.
controlled with who I meet in my neighborhood, you're quite, you're that's my dignity. I feel like just human, just being human. So my tip would be like, your worth is not in anybody's minds or hands. You
Mm,
are worthy.
mm,
So don't put your worth in their hands or minds. If they say this about you, that's them projecting their insecurities on you.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
every time they belittle you, they're so condescending and
Absolutely.
they make you feel small. Let me
Mm,
tell you something. That's because they're feeling that
Mhm.
they're small, but they are not, because narcissists, they don't have awareness. So they are more like, they're feeling it and they're avoiding to fix that themselves. And so they
mhm.
project it on you. So I would say your dignity and stick to your
Yeah.
values. Your values.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you think of, your dignity. Good night, Rick. If you think of your
Mhm.
dignity, then yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
can I can
prisoner.
I that's how I felt. I did 25 years. I did.
And I
It was
came
all
from a
about him.
very loving family. I have so
Mhm.
much love. And
Yeah.
and this is the
You
love
do.
and
You do
support.
have a lot. Yeah.
The love,
Yeah.
warmth, and support
Yeah.
from my parents and my family back at home in Singapore, that's
Yeah.
been the major part of how I heal really quickly.
Wow.
Getting out. It's the love.
Great.
It's just and that's always the reminder when they're there and to lift me up, right? Whenever I'm down and just the days that I'm just broken and I don't want to do anything, I almost give up on myself, they are my reminders that no, you're not made up of this. You're made up of love. And, my parents, you're made up of love and strength
Yeah.
and all that. And then I rise back. I get up again, So your
They give you a
dignity.
reason. Yeah. I can relate with when I would feel guilty for his childhood. Now, I didn't have the best childhood. I do come from a loving family, but it was all like the same stories. I'd hear the same. He was expecting a birthday party and never got the birthday party and walked in the house and his brother lied to him. And that was like, I heard that every year.
I was trying not to
Every
laugh.
year.
You heard it. It was like on
The
repeat, right? You could just
stupidest thing. It was just
you
like
could
the
finish the
same
story for
5
him, pretty
scenarios.
much. Yeah, yeah.
It was so bad. It was embarrassing. It was so and whenever he had an audience, he would go, "Oh, I lost
I was gonna say
my
he
tip
used
of
it
my
on
finger
everybody,
in the
probably.
car door."
Yeah.
The tip of his finger in the car door. Like if I heard that story one more time, I'd explode. It's ridiculous. And I'm thinking, you don't even like my childhood didn't matter, or anything that happened to me didn't matter. It was all about him all the time. Oh, he literally, I allowed him though, stole my identity. I feel like he was such an empty person that he would take my energy, my happiness, my joy, my love, all my giving and compassion for people. And he tried to, it was almost like he would mirror who I was. And then the more he would suck it out of me, all my energy, the weaker I got and the more powerful he got.
Hmm.
If I would laugh, oh, don't laugh, act like a grown up, because I was always
Yeah.
funny. And yeah, so I just sunk in deeper. And year after year, that was it. I was a shell, but I'm coming back.
He took your funny, huh?
He did.
And
He didn't like it.
the loving kindness of Dahlia and her family, he tried to drown that out in your life. They're almost talking about the same person, and you got two different men that this happened with.
Well,
all right,
my
go
best
ahead.
friend drew my so I know she's now my best friend. Like I came here, I had nobody, but we reconnected with a childhood friend who's in Kentucky. So she drove up 8 hours from Kentucky to see me the moment she heard that. And she came into the house. I was like, come into the house and see, she picked up the energy and she cried before she left. She was like, can you just pack your bags and come and stay with me? But she has a big family, right? Because she felt the dark energy, like that versus a healthy household, because she comes from a very big family with 5 kids, very loving and a lot of vibrance in her house. And then going into hello Angeline, going into that my space, she goes like, you have to leave, and she cried. She's like, are you sure you don't want to leave? I didn't want
She
to
could feel something was off.
yeah, she picked up the cold dark energy. And that's really something like, I go to sleep crying, screaming in my head. I could literally hear myself scream in my head, calling my mom.
Oh,
And, as a consultant, I travel a lot to
Yeah.
different places, different countries. I'm alone in the hotel room, but I never felt lonely. And there I was in the same bed as my husband, and I'm screaming in my head for my mom.
yeah. They
I
really
have
make you
to.
feel
I
alone.
got to do something here real quick before we move on too much. You had a number of things that were said. I'm going to turn my attention toward the chat here, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I think we did make sure Rick knew that he was saying goodnight to us. So I'm going to
Good
start
night,
there.
Rick.
Rick,
Good
we're going to
night.
say goodnight to you. For doing that. Dr. Pepper 76 wanted to make sure you knew, Dahlia, that it was like you were a prisoner than a tenant there. And I'm going to do one here. That's for this one. Thank you so much. I love the last name. I just want to say thank you,
Joy.
Joy. I know that's not her name, but I like the Joy part. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And Dr. Pepper gave you some love for your friend. We'll move on to some other points. There are a number of other points in regards to essential steps that you can take in making sure to protect yourself, a narcissistic or a toxic emotional bully. Question. When it comes to no contact, everybody can't do that. Not everybody can block their numbers, emails, and a number of other things.
Especially when you're like Susie, you have kids. I don't
Yeah.
have kids.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, suggestions before we move on to the next thing I wanted to highlight? Anything real quick you want to toss out?
Keep the conversations minimum. Like, don't allow, even when you cannot really go no contact, but don't go into justifying a lot or questioning a lot. But you say this, you say that, because they're going to gaslight and manipulate you. And the whole story
Got it.
goes into a
Yeah.
spiral about then that actually where you give them power. They gain the power because they have your attention. And I learned psychology as a coach, when your amygdala, your brain is hijacked and you're in that mode of you try to protect yourself and you're being combative or you're justifying or you questioning the truth, you're actually giving them the power. But if you just say, I don't want, with your boundaries, like, no, I don't want to go, you can go with your family or you can go with the kids. I don't want to go. Because maybe when you go for the outing with him, he would be belittling you or condescending in front of his friends and, make you feel shameful,
Put you
right?
down, put you down.
Put
other
you
stuff,
down
yeah.
all the time. And so you don't feel like going. You just want your space. You want probably to just let him go with the kids and then you stay
Yeah.
in the bathtub and, try to relax and calm down. But you just go, I don't want to go. Instead of you arguing like, I don't want to go because you would do this, because I don't like when you do this to me. That's never ending. If you that's engaging them. That's real, they get the power. They get their ego is going like, oh yeah, we're enjoying this. Come on, girl. Yeah. It's like
Yeah, let's fire
it's
it
like you
up. Yeah,
punching.
yeah, let's keep it going. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you
You're
punching
giving
a
them all
bag.
your attention.
Emotion
Yeah.
is an emotional
Yeah.
punches that are
They get
being
high.
thrown.
Yeah.
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 They get a high off it. They
So
get a rush.
yeah. So keep it minimum if you cannot go totally no contact.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
and don't tell them anything about you. Like I don't tell people what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with, because I feel like that fuels them too. And then they can cause more drama or sabotage something or smears,
Oh, good point. Yeah. Good point.
what's coming good, anything good, they want to sabotage. It's very sad.
Can I do something here? Can we take a question from the chat? Is that all right with both of you? I'm just going to put it up
Sure,
before we go to our next point. Thank you. Angeline says, how have you handled feeling extreme pain and depression? Says, I remember I used to feel like I was going to have a heart attack and had a hard time functioning.
It's not easy. For me, it was like just remembering to breathe. I've learned to rest. I've learned to, just know it's okay to feel that. It's okay to be hurting and devastated and depressed. How could I not? I think I tried to pretend everything was okay. So when I allowed myself to actually feel the pain and the depression and the confusion, it helped me to realize that it was valid. How I was feeling was very valid. But yeah, and breathing, definitely breathing. I've had many panic attacks. I would actually go in my car. I think from past shows, I used to sleep in my car because I felt safer. It was I couldn't. I had this big house and it was so empty, like you said, laying next to the person and feeling so alone. So I would get my blankets and my pillows and go sleep in my car, and I felt cocooned. A heavy blanket.
Wow.
Yeah. So my friends are counselors and coaches. It's Angeline, it's so difficult. It's so difficult. It may sound so easy for me to share now, but I know how difficult it was. I felt pain everywhere in my body, and my counselors, I'm like, I told my counselor, I haven't done anything rough. Like, I didn't do any, I didn't lift any weights or anything, but I'm having pain here and there everywhere. Where is this pain coming from? But the pain apparently is your body telling you you're not, you need rest. You're not, you're having all this negative energy. You're absorbing all this negative energy. So breathing is very important. The deep breathing, the meditation kind of breathing. I did yoga. So I did meditation in terms of breathing, but I also did yoga. And the days, Angeline, that you cannot function, don't even try. Just go take a walk. Just go to nature and just take a walk and like sip on, chamomile tea or something. Oh, the other thing I did was I schedule monthly massage. So I go for Thai massage, and like, these masseurs, they could feel the tense. It's like, oh, your back is like a surfboard, like so steep. It's like
goodness.
hard. Yeah, it's like wood, your back. And I haven't done anything, but that's all your
Just like,
body, suppressing all that. All your negative emotions, your pain, your stress, your hurt, your
all trapped in the body.
everything. Yeah. So I go for massage. Yeah, just step. I just told my Thai masseuse, like, just step all over me. Step on my back.
I've never had a massage.
What?
Never.
Okay.
so
That,
Okay,
that has to go on my list.
all you subscribers and over 1 million views this channel has gotten, there's got to be somebody out there that's near the Connecticut area, but I'm quite sure she would fly to you if you're going to give her a massage. Please make
Massage.
yourself available by reaching out to Susie. How can they reach you on email? If they email you, come on, we're going to do it right now. That's
Susie
why
with
this
the Z
is the
podcast
network. This is
show.
all about networking. So,
Yeah.
wait, don't send them to me. Don't send. No, you said Susie. Okay, go ahead. Say it
Susie
again.
with a Z, Susie with a Z podcast show at gmail.com.
Yes,
Oh, I would love to try
Z
it.
podcast.
Oh,
Show at
Show.
Gmail.
it's so good.
Thank
It's
you.
like,
Gmail.
you be the
It must be
punching bag
so
for them.
relaxing.
It's so
Yeah.
relaxing.
That's
So
something
I
I-
needed that. I needed, because they talk about your,
All right, I'll drop it in the chat. Go ahead.
Thank
they
you.
talk about
Wait,
you
did you guys see
draining.
Angeline there? She sent you a heart from what you
Yeah.
suggestions you made there. Thank you.
Yeah. So, you recently I
were
started
saying-
doing recently I also started doing the, I got this I bounce. I got this
Oh, like a little trampoline?
the little trampoline. And then
Oh, really?
Yeah, they say that is similar to high intensity workout. So
Yes,
if
it
you
is.
do bounce like 15 minutes a
Yes.
day,
That's true. I'm a
yeah.
jump roper. I jump rope. So the 15-minute jump roping, 10 to 15 minutes. I can't even tell you what it does for the psyche.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I gotta
sometimes it's
get
way
one.
better than if you're able to do it. You don't have the knees and ankles, and you could always just
Oh yeah.
use an imaginary, or like you said, the trampoline things. It's a really good idea.
Trampoline.
So there you go, Susie.
I could probably handle that. Jump rope, and I don't know. The
Yeah, the trampoline though.
Yeah, they're
hey,
little, right? They're like four,
Yeah.
four
Oh,
feet,
yeah.
3 feet. Yeah.
It's so fun. It's so fun. And then you just blast your music and jump around
Yeah.
and dance.
Hey, you know
Oh,
what?
that's
We all
my
should
speed.
film ourselves doing that, and then I'll just put them together as one big video to tell people do this to relieve your
Do it.
stress when dealing with a narcissist.
You feel anxiety? Jump.
Yeah, feel anxiety. Just
That's it.
there's
Just
no
jump.
thing, you could do this one, you could do this one, or you could do this one.
That's
Yeah.
it.
And then
Because
tell
it
people to send in
promotes-
theirs idea. So anyhow,
It promotes blood circulation.
Yeah.
there you go.
And so
Gets
it
everything
brings
moving.
oxygen to your brain
Good.
and then eventually calm your nerves down. So
I'll have to try that. Definitely. Massage too. That's on my list. I think
It should be.
well,
we just
it
put
is-
your name in
it
the chat.
should.
Here,
That's
here we
it.
go. Let me
Seminal-
help you with.
seminal.
Let me help you with that. We're gonna do some here. Keep talking if you want there. What other point? There's another point that we had outlined here. Point number 4. Anybody want to go ahead and take that while I'm typing? Go right ahead. Susie.
Point number
Point
4.
number 4, develop a safety plan. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
For some
that's
people, if you have a physical abusive relationship, mine was not physical, it was more mental and emotional.
thanks.
I'm
Thanks a
sorry.
lot.
I just wanted
Oh,
to
you're
put
the
that.
best.
All the weirdos are going to
Oh,
reach
I'm not
out.
going to
I'm
torture
sorry,
you
Dolly.
today.
You were saying. I'm just such a weirdo. All right. All right.
Yeah, but yeah,
Oh,
you like Susie say, I would say don't tell him if you plan to run or go to
what you're
if
doing.
you get to a shelter or anything, because he might harm you, right? So safety is important. So I spoke to my counselor, and my counselor said safety first.
I'm back. I froze for a second.
That's okay. We're all good. We're just
Yeah.
hanging out here. We're good. Hanging out on the network.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But
So
I don't
safety
know where we
first,
were.
safety first, Susie. How,
hmm
when you plan to escape, and you have kids, how do you?
Well, my kids were older. They weren't his kids. So now they're 36, one. Um, but I had to, yeah, it for me to get out of there, it was very hard. I actually, you know what I found today? Hold on, I want to show you something because I
Uh-oh.
literally just found
Yeah,
this
we
because we
got
were talking
props
about a
maybe in this
safety
show.
bag.
Here we go.
This
What is
is my
that?
bag. I don't know if you could see how ratty that is. This was my go
Put
bag.
it in front
That
of your face. Put it in front of your face
yeah,
in front of the camera. Okay.
this was my
Wow.
go bag that
We've
I had packed and it's falling apart. It was
bro.
always full. It always had, toiletries, extra clothes because I never knew when I had to escape.
Mm,
He was very violent, and more so at the end. And yeah, having a plan, having even the hotline. I've used the domestic violence hotline, the women's group hotline, many times. Shelters, and I don't know. See, that still gets me. That's still
Yeah.
just to think back that I was always on guard. I was always ready to run.
mm,
Always.
mm.
I've left the house with no shoes. I've left the house like after being in the pool with just a bathing suit. It was so I started packing my car. So yeah, safety plan, support.
And don't threaten. Don't threaten them.
No, no, and don't let them know what you're doing. That was like number one because anytime I would confide or oh I'm going to leave or whatever, he would just make it more difficult. He would
Yeah.
just amp it up, and then I would be even if I was physically capable of getting out, I was mentally shut down. He would just amp up whatever abuse, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the financial. How many times did he go down to the bank and clean out the accounts? So I didn't even have a debit card. So for part of my safety plan
Wow.
was making sure I always had cash or one of my kids had money for me
Mm.
because I never knew when I would need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because also, like, the go back is really good idea. And, like, if you threaten them, and you have kids, they might use your kids to threaten you back.
Well, he
And
did. Yeah.
imagine the psychology of your kids going through that kind of trauma where, he uses kids as the bait, as the weapon,
Yep.
to threaten you back. So, yeah,
Oh, I
safety
had that.
first.
Yeah, for years, like your kids don't love you, they'll stay with me because they were a little older, but it's psychologically what they went through, that's mom guilt, forget about it. And then what happened was my grandchildren came and I started to see him telling the grandchildren, grandma's crazy. He started to do the same thing to my grandchildren. And that's when I knew I have to get out of here. And
Yeah.
it was
People
draining.
people have always joked to me about, oh, you crazy rich Asian. And I always like to say, well, I'm kind of crazy but not so rich, right? that movie Crazy Rich Asian. But the word crazy means something else to them. Like I used to joke, like I'm crazy, I'm silly, my
Mm-hmm.
sisters, my friends, cray cray. But when they use that word with you, it's
Mm-hmm.
really, to deflect, to gaslight you, to manipulate, and
Mm-hmm.
to make you really feel like you are crazy.
Yeah. To break you down,
Yeah.
strategically, he broke me down.
Yeah.
You need mental, what do you used to say? You've got mental problems. That was over and over and over. When I started therapy, it was after he beat me up for the last time, and that was 4 years ago. Gosh, time goes so fast. When I first started therapy, I had to go at least 6, 8 months, and I kept asking Dr. Mack, my therapist, my psychiatrist, "Am I crazy? You sure I'm not crazy?" I truly
Oh,
believed that I was
Wow.
Susie.
crazy,
Mm.
and he's like, "You're not crazy," and it took over and over and over. Now I finally know I'm not. I was crazy
No,
to be with
you're
him, though.
not. You're
No.
not. They drive you crazy. They
Mm-hmm.
drive
Oh,
you crazy,
yeah,
right?
That's
Yeah, I
because
was
they
told
are
I'm
crazy.
crazy.
They are
yeah.
crazy.
Oh, he's right there.
He's right
Totally
there.
not normal. I don't know what to say. I'm
So
trying to be nice right now.
for me, because of my job, right, my career as a coach, Susie,
Mhm,
I trust my counselor. So when my counselor say, Dahlia, this is not you. This is not something you
mhm,
can save. Run, never turn
mhm.
back. She warned me
Yeah.
this. My counselor, both my counselor and my attorney. And so when I hear that, I don't question it anymore. Sometimes you know it, but you kind of like, but, then the next few days when they
Right.
behave, then you go like, oh, they're not so bad after all. And then you forget about leaving,
Yeah.
and then it goes into a cycle. But for me,
Yeah.
because I know how counselors see and make their judgment, I trusted my counselor, and when she
Mhm.
said run, never turn back, I was
You
like,
knew to take it seriously.
yes.
She
I was
knew
like,
what yeah.
running. I'm
Yeah.
definitely
I'm out of
running.
here.
So we
Yeah.
have a question here, Susie, from Can Venice. Thank you for your question, Can. Is it true that they are convincing to police that
Oh.
are called Ed on them from a spouse?
Oh, in my situation, um I he called the police on me 3 times that I could just think off the top of my head. Um The worst one was 4 years ago. I was beaten up, and I was left in the woods for 17 hours with a broken nose and rib. And when I finally heard someone in my driveway, I was out down in the woods all night. The next morning, I ran and dove through the window of her car. Um, he saw me, and he saw my eye was all black. He went to the police station and told the police that I had done this to myself. And when they
Because he
finally
said you're crazy.
Yes, because I was crazy. So lo and behold, thank God, they found my phone, and I had touched that record button, and they got what he did to me, like 45 seconds of it. And they said, we could not believe that's the same man that came in here, the little victim that he portrayed himself to be, that I did this to myself to get him in trouble, and I used to beat him up and this and that. Um, they finally had the proof that it was not me, and there he was, full-blown psychosis attacking me. So he was arrested,
Wow.
finally. But if I didn't have that recording, they're so convincing. And I always, because of my children, I always like cowered and took the blame, because it was so embarrassing. And he would be the one running around like he's the victim, and I just shut down. So no one ever really knew the truth until that video.
I'm sorry
It's
you go
difficult.
through that, Susie, but I'm glad the police believe you and took him
Thank
instead.
Yeah.
But you talk about embarrassing.
Mhm.
I'm Asian. I come from, Asian culture. In the Asian culture, sometimes even if they don't call the police on you and all that, like, you know, they have this, some Asian cultures, we have been conditioned to say that don't embarrass, don't show your people your dirty laundry, don't embarrass the family. If you tell on your spouse who's not behaving well, then you're embarrassing your family, that you made to feel guilty for embarrassing your own family, your own
And shame.
husband,
I
or
felt so much shame.
yeah, but that's not right. That's injustice to yourself, that you have to save the reputation
Save
of the
face. Yeah.
family, save face, and not call out on. I volunteered for some conferences for women, right? And then there was a woman who asked the panelists, the counselors, they asked the panelists, she said, I found my husband sexually harassing my sister. And then this woman said, she asked the counselor, should I report him? Or because I feel shameful if, I report my own husband. And I'm standing there listening to this, and I was like, oh, I would kick
Yes.
his ass myself if it was me. But there was this question because of, I don't want to feel shame. I don't want to lose face if I report my own husband for his bad behavior. You're not responsible for his behavior.
Right. Well, I understand that now.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
the counselor responded, thankfully he responded that way. He was like, are you going to enable him to do that to your sister? Or are you going to enable him to continue to do that to whoever else outside in public?
Right.
But yeah, some people would not and would just tolerate because of, in the name of shame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
Did we talk about point number 5 on your list?
Not
Seeking
yet.
professional help. I can, before we do that, that's why I wanted to ask that question. I want to emphasize to the audience, if you're watching and listening to this now, collectively, we always encourage you to seek shelters, have an emergency bag, a to-go bag, friends and family. It's been talked about already. I just want to emphasize it to you. Again, to make sure you have a safety plan when you're dealing with a coercive, controlling, aggressive individual, to make sure that you are prepared for a safe exit. I just wanted to highlight that before we move on to point number 5, seek professional help. You found individuals to talk to that were professionals. You found people that became your family, that maybe when your family wasn't there. And then, as Dahlia, you highlighted, your family proved to keep you strong in dealing with certain situations. Why is seeking therapy for recovery or a support group a beneficial way to move forward for some who've never experienced maybe narcissistic abuse, and now they find themselves in a relationship where maybe therapy and a support group could be to their advantage?
How's your experience, Susie?
With support groups and therapy, I love my psychiatrist. He saved me. I mean, it was collectively an army behind me, but he's phenomenal. At first, he was very sweet and understanding and kind and gentle, and now we fast forward 3 years.
Let me get
He's
behind the
tough.
mic so I can smile behind it. Again,
Yeah, like as I
he was
grow,
sweet
he
and nice at the
pushes
beginning.
me.
Is
Oh,
that,
so sweet and soft spoken, and
you're
it's
scaring everybody
okay,
else.
and you're
Now they're not going to want to go
doing
and
the
find it.
best you can do. No, he's exactly what I needed when I needed him.
So now
And
he
I feel like,
beats you up. I'm going to tell him you
so
said
now that I've gotten stronger and I've healed, he's doing like you would with a child, like pushing me out of the nest a little bit.
that. With his
So
foot or with
I've,
his hand? With his foot?
oh,
Is
I
it with
don't
his
know,
foot?
with
He
it,
putting a foot to you?
with his demands
What
he
are some of the
pushes
demands,
me,
if you
and
feel like saying it, to give
well,
somebody an idea so that
to
they don't think
to
he's asking too much, but
yeah, no, he was
per se.
wonderful for the first 2 years. More now it's, the self-care. really pushing me with the self-care. And at first I couldn't even brush my teeth. I couldn't
Yeah.
get out of
Yeah.
bed like you were
Mm-hmm.
saying.
Mm-hmm.
So pushing me to shower, the the
Mm-hmm.
the basic necessities. And then it was letting go of,
Mm-hmm.
helping me understand that this man was like in my DNA. I was with him
Mm-hmm.
25 years and it was okay
Mm-hmm.
to hold on, and the Stockholm syndrome. Then it went to letting people go that were still making me feel sad and not supporting me. And
Mm-hmm.
as hard as it was, and now it's getting out and meeting new people and, spreading my wings and growing and just continuing my healing. It's just different levels.
Yeah.
So
How about you,
You
I never
Dahlia?
knew.
Oh, I'm
you
sorry. Go
were
ahead. You were going to say, please. You were going to say.
No,
yeah.
I was just going to say quick. I never knew that therapy had so many levels. I just thought you go to therapy and you talk or tell your story. I
Mm,
didn't realize that it really helps you heal.
yeah.
It's not just about telling your story. It's about learning how to grow and strengthen ourselves. And I needed to learn confidence again. And it's it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I found the right therapist. And well, I just want to say one more thing. If you do start therapy of any kind and
Mm-hmm.
you're not seeing results, please try another therapist, because I
Mm-hmm.
had tried over the years, and until I found Dr. Mack, I'm so glad I didn't give up, because he was
Mhm.
the
Mm-hmm.
perfect fit, and someone is out there.
I never had in my whole entire life, 40 years, I never needed a counselor or a therapist until this experience.
Really? Wow.
Because I've never had I had so many coaches, for my
Yeah.
Brazilian
Yeah. Right. Right.
I've got coaches for Brazilian jiu-jitsu, for Muay Thai
Mm-hmm.
boxing, coaches for my own coaching, in my business.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never needed to go to a counselor or a therapist until this experience after 40 years of my life. Because again, I have a very thriving, nurturing, loving family, so my counselor was just my mom. Anything, you go to her, she'll fix it for you. She
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
all the
Yeah. Yeah.
solutions for you.
Yeah.
But this time as a coach, I'm very open, like, to seek professional help. So I got my counselor. What was very helpful for me was the clarity that I got from her. So first of all, counselors are trained. They give you the psychological safety. You're not judged. They will never judge you. And then they will listen and they will give you the clarity. So, when you're going through this, you're going up and down and you're, confused and you're ruminating, but they will kind of structure your thoughts for you and say, no, it's not prescriptive also, right? So they're not prescriptive. They go like,
Right.
they make you see the water through a very clear glass. You can see through, and everything that you have in your mind is
Mm-hmm.
impurities, right? So they help you clear out the impurities, and you can see with clarity. And really, they serve as your accountability buddy. Like, how are you? They will just ask, so Dahlia, how are you going with this? Or Susie, did
Hmm.
you brush your teeth? Did you manage to brush your teeth
Yeah.
Yeah.
today?
Good point.
They help us figure it out for ourselves. I feel like he helped me to learn on my own,
Yeah.
how to take care of myself with his, the way how
Mm.
gentle he was. Like you said, did you brush your teeth today? Or how
Yeah.
many showers did you take this week? So I had to think about it. It wasn't like
Mm.
he was telling me, you need to brush your teeth, or that. No,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's a mental exercise when they ask you those questions. And as for me, when she asked me all the questions, and she kind of like straightened my thoughts. My thoughts were going like like that, and then she just helped to straighten it and say, "So when are you leaving?" Like, I got to the point, because I'm very
Mm.
goal centric as a coach also. So I got to the point where this is the point. I
Yes.
made my decision. This is my plan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's very helpful.
That's
I couldn't
that's
talk. I mean,
exactly.
I could talk to my mom like I always do, but um, because of my situation, my mom got so worried.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to, make my mom feel heavy and stressed about my situation. I'm already so far away. She would feel so useless and helpless that
Mhm.
she cannot help me. So there are things
It
that
was too late. It was too late. She was a mom. She was already way ahead of you.
Yeah.
You already.
I
She was already waiting, worrying about you anyhow. I just
yeah,
yeah,
I
met you
think
and I was worrying about you.
our
yeah,
families are too emotionally involved with us to
Yeah,
help,
yeah.
because I found the same thing.
yeah,
And Dr. Mack would do the same thing. So when are you putting the house on the market? So did you go to the lawyer today? And
yeah.
week after week, he would just suggest these things.
Mm-hmm,
What have
mm-hmm.
you done? What's the
Yeah.
plan? And
So,
eventually I figured it out.
so you talked to your mom, and I mean, you could have talked to your mom. You didn't want her to be weighty, but you needed I'm gonna say this, be weird, because I am. You needed a Dr. Mack. You needed a counselor. You needed somebody else to lay the heavy stuff on. Without saying name, was it somebody near you? Was it somebody from where you came from? How did it work out?
The my counselor.
Yes. Was it
Oh,
somebody nearby? Was it a client? I mean, how did you find your counselor? Just kind of give an idea
oh,
for the audience that's listening.
I found mine online because I
Okay.
needed to find someone in the US, but I also have, because I'm a coach
Yeah.
professionally, so I do
Right.
have in my network
Okay.
counselors who are my
Okay.
friends. So,
Okay.
they're all there for me too. But yeah, I found mine online, like from, the I think I forgot what the website was, but yeah, the certified
Okay.
counselors.
Got it.
Yeah.
That
And
actually
you,
helps. So if somebody's out there looking to get an idea how to go about doing it, that's something that you could do. Any advice on that? Either one of you, you found Dr. Mack,
I
Susie,
went
and you
online.
went online. So
yeah.
both of you
Hmm.
did online, and you said a
Hmm.
certified counselor or coach or something. Give some
Yeah,
advice. What you got?
certified counselor.
Okay.
I saw Gloria also mentioned the support group, the
I'll
women
put that back
support
up. Yeah.
group, women group.
Yes.
You also can get resources from there. Like you could get numbers and contacts and people they've worked with and they're comfortable working
Mm-hmm.
with, those who have helped them. And if you do also, end up calling a shelter or temporarily end up there for a while, they would have a lot of counselors they work with,
Yeah.
and also people who can help you with your financial needs, your basic needs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one for me. I just Google. I was desperate, so I just Google, counselor in the state that I was in, and
Mm-hmm.
then it was a list of all the counselors. So you can see their bios, you can see their experience, how many years, and also their rates. Some of them have one free consulting hour or half an hour just for you to see whether that kind of chemistry call, if this counselor actually can help with your kind of abuse situation. Because different counselors have, that you have the youth, the experts in youth counseling. There are counselors who are expert in marriage. So you want to find that right
Mm-hmm.
counselor who would understand your situation, someone
And
experienced with your situation.
the good thing about the women's group, the police called the shelter and the women's group for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that really helped me, therapy with Dr. Mack is one thing, but the women's group is free. The
Mm-hmm.
shelter is free.
Mm-hmm.
And jumping on those Zoom calls with other women who experience similar situations as mine, it made me realize I wasn't alone, because I never realized that other women have gone through this.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that was really helpful to me,
Mm-hmm.
and just to hear them talk, and they could totally understand what I went through, because a lot of them went through the same thing. So yeah, the women's group has been a major, major help for me.
Now, Gloria is a part of the women's group that you
Yes.
went to, connected. If I say that right,
Yeah, she was
was
she
she one
was
of the
one of the first
speakers?
women.
One of the things.
No,
No, okay, I'm just checking.
she was the one who wanted to come and rescue me from the RV. That's Gloria.
Oh, that's Gloria. Oh, okay, got it. All
Yeah,
right.
I had
If you
lived in
want, if
a
anybody's listening, and want to know about that, you'd have to watch one
mm,
of the shows under.
yeah,
If you go into NATV and our homepage, and you go to where it says podcast, Susie has a podcast playlist there, and you just get to listen to her shows. A few other shows are mixed in. And Susie, you have to. If I don't send you the link, I'll have to give it to you, or you get it,
okay.
and you can put it on your channel as well, so that people can find it. But her show and her story, her life is there, and trust me, as Susie often says, right? What
There's
do
a
you say,
lot.
Susie? There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Trust
There's
me,
a lot.
whatever's there, the shows that we've done, trust me, she has
Yeah,
not told the whole story.
no.
Because let alone the video and the pictures you sent me, which I've never made public, but you sent me of
Mm,
what you recorded that was happening. Trust me, everybody. I'll look at the cameras over here.
yeah,
It's bad. Just the best
it's
I can tell
bad.
you. It's bad. Just
Yeah,
the stuff she sent me of him being recorded, and he didn't know he was being recorded, and it was bad.
it
It was
was
bad.
bad.
So it's
Sometimes he
good to
did
see you
know.
survive.
Mm,
It's good to see you survive.
yeah.
A
But with the
lot of
women's
violence. A
group,
lot of violence. Bad.
yeah.
Yes.
So after sharing my story with the Women's Center for a couple of years, they had a national fundraiser that they do every year up here in the state of Connecticut. So this year, it was June, I think it was June.
Mm-hmm.
They had asked me to tell my story, and they filmed it, and they did a little
Mm-hmm.
documentary on myself and another woman, Marianne. She had written a book after her really hard childhood and being abused, and then she married someone abusive. So they took both of our stories and they used our stories for their fundraiser. So it was wonderful. We got to be guests, and it was a wonderful night. It was emotional, um, but it felt really good to represent the women in the group
Mm-hmm.
and to be a part of the fundraiser for the state of Connecticut. So
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I do want to say something to the audience that's gathered here. I'm going to repeat something I said earlier, and then I'm going to touch on something I really need you to know, and I need you to share with others. The first thing, this is a pilot to the pilot for the first episode. None of it's supposed to make sense to you. Just remember I said this is a pilot test run to the pilot before we actually start their first episode for this particular show called The Network. Why? Because the individuals you'll see here, and this is what I'm going to need to tell you and share with others, they have survived narcissistic abuse, but they have started their own businesses and a number of other things, coaching, they're public speakers. You are looking at two women who are public speakers, by the way, and coaching and a number of other things. So if you need, or your business needs, public speakers, you can reach out to, you see Dahlia's information there on the screen, and Susie's I put in the chat there somewhere. I don't know what I did with it, Susie. There it is, right there. There it is, right there. Did I get it? And so
yeah.
here, reach out to Susie here, and I'm going to do this so you can see Dahlia's. Dahlia's is there. If your business or your shelter or you need someone to speak in regards to business coaching, Dahlia is an executive coach. Susie works with shelters and willing to work with lawyers. If you have a client that's going through divorce and they need some advice and support, Susie does that, and a number of other things. More information will be coming your way. We're going to package and put things together, portfolios for each of them and others. You want to be on the program, feel free to reach out to us here at NATV Network. Check our About section. You can reach out to us by going there. But mainly, I wanted to say we've enjoyed ourselves hanging out with you. You ladies can be tortured and stay if you like. I'm going to stay on for a little bit and put up a video for everybody, and we're going to regroup again. Thank you both. There are other points that we wanted to bring out, but we're not going to touch on them right now because the show, we went 1 hour and 27 minutes, ladies.
Great.
And
Went so fast.
we still got other information to share with everybody, but we went 1 hour and 27 minutes. So I really
Wow.
appreciate you ladies doing this. Any thoughts and words you'd like to pass on before I end this stream, since we came and dominated on YouTube for about 1 hour and a half?
So, Paxton, Susie, we talk about domestic mostly today, domestic violence. and narcissistic abuse, but it's as an executive coach and a management consultant, you see narcissistic abuse in workplaces as well.
Yeah.
I have coached people at work in workplaces where they are experiencing toxic behaviors of their peers or colleagues or the managers. So yeah, it's not just at home. It's happening in other places, as well as workplaces. So if anyone here would like to know and find out more, yeah, feel free to reach out to me. You can also find me on LinkedIn. If you just search my name, you'll find me on LinkedIn. You'll find my content on LinkedIn too. So I hope that it, will give you some insights and some knowledge.
We'll put that information
that I can share.
I'll put that information in the description of the video as well. Please go ahead. I'm actually trying to find something. Go ahead, keep going.
No,
Just keep talking, 'cause I'm trying to find something.
you
Keep
can
going.
you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or my email, or just reach out to the network here. And yeah, hopefully I can share some insights and knowledge with you for how you can handle narcissistic relationships or toxic relationships at work too.
Yeah. Did I get it? There it is. So you can go to your LinkedIn, correct?
Yes.
Part of it right here. You can get it. So it's, by the way, she likes jazz. Ooh. Coaching is your jazz, I should say. Coaching is your jazz. I love the way you said that. Leadership coaching. So if you're having trouble at work with your narcissistic boss, make sure you reach out to Dahlia. Truly appreciate it. Self-confidence, women empowerment, number of other things. So let's see here. I'm going to put that down right there. Appreciate you being here. Big time. Really did.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Same for you, Susie. Hopefully you...
Thank you. Yeah, and if anyone wants to contact me, they can find me at Susie with a Z podcast show at Gmail. Like you were saying before, I do work with attorneys to be an advocate for women in shelters. If anyone would like to help support one of these women that don't have money for counseling or sessions with me, you can always buy some of my merch, and the money goes towards women in shelters, women who can't afford counseling, women who are in court with child, custody battles. I support all of them. So yeah, and I'm on all the social media platforms.
There you go.
Thank you.
Everybody, just know that I repeat, this is the pilot to the episode. That's not supposed to mean anything until you get to the episode. You're going like, oh, I get why they did it that way. So, Susie, Dahlia, thank you both very much. I truly appreciate it. We are going to move a few things around here. And everybody that's been here to be a part of this, appreciate it. We were given this a test run. We do that a lot here at NATV Network. For this particular show called The Network. And you will see where this is all going if you keep coming back. I got to do this. Everybody, there's so much more content that they have for you. We're going to have to figure out how we're going to get it to the people. But right now, we're going to have to end tonight because I didn't know we were going to go an hour and a half, but it was really good. You were sharing a lot of good information, a lot of tips for everybody. So we'll figure out how to bring the other half to you. It may not be here as under the network. We'll figure it out. We'll all talk together. Any other thoughts? Susie? Nobody? Anybody? Because I'm about to put a video up.
Protect your peace. Always protect your peace.
And educate yourself. Educate yourself.
Love it. Love it. I love it. I should have been menu.
One book. You see, it's
Was it?
Oh, I have that book.
Hey. Well, man,
Dr. Romney.
I was going to say you guys should have put them up both at the same time if you both had it. But
God, I didn't
see that coming. That was
It's
pretty
not
good.
you, Dr. Ram. You talk about educating yourself, Dr. Ramani. You saved my life. I love you.
Oh, that's just too sweet. Now we got to do is just get her on the show. I think we're gonna have to do that. I'm gonna send the picture of both of you holding up her book, and we're gonna tell her to come on the show.
Sounds
That's
good.
what we'll do. We'll do that.
Great
All
book.
right. So right now, let's see what I got here. I need to put something up for everybody to say goodbye. Ladies, you're on the East Coast. It is like 9 o'clock there, 9:15
20
before
minutes to
the
10.
hour. Yeah. So thank you so much for doing this. We'll try to come back again for everybody that's hanging out here in the chat. Appreciate all of you. I'm going to do a few things. Ladies, I'll see you later. If you happen to be sticking around when I'm done, I'll talk to you then. If not, I will torture you later. Okay? Love you both very much.
Thank
wave over
you.
here. Wave it at you. I love you guys. See you
Bye.
later. All right, you get to look at me on the way out, but I wanted to make sure everybody sees Susie's information, okay? If you're sticking around for a little bit, ladies, I'll see you in just a moment. I'm going to play that video. Somebody sent me something here during the show. They missed the video, so of course, I'll play it again. I have another video for you, but we'll hold that one off. I'll play this other one that I played at the beginning. See Susie's information, and don't forget Dahlia. Dahlia, you can find her on LinkedIn, and get ready for something a little different and a little new here on the network. We were told 3 years ago to put this show together. We finally decided to go ahead and work on it and bring it to you. And you wanted it to have the name it has, and there it is. And everyone else will see what it is when we get done. I'm being silly. Okay, Friday night. Let's end this show. Let me get it over here. And nothing but love for you, Ken. What is that? What did you say there? Ken's got some more stuff on his mind there. Oh, that's who's there. It is. Mama Bear. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. You guys get to watch me, kind of like the live that I did for our members only a little while ago. Get to watch me actually do stuff behind the scenes. I got to move a few things. I'm going to talk to you while I'm doing it. And you're like, this guy is weird. You're so weird. You're so weird. Let's get rid of that. Do that. All right. Everybody's looking at everything's good. It's over there. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining the network. Appreciate it.